Happy Tuesday, traders. It is Tuesday, 8:02 a.m. Chicago time, Central Standard Time. Wonderful, beautiful day in Chicago today. It is November 3rd, U.S. Election Day, big day, um, and big events ahead. This is episode number 1871. Just saying that number gets me tired. That's a lot of episodes. Um, I want to remind you that derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. The market stance this morning is it's allocating to risk on a decent basis. Most important thing is that the S&P is back at that all important 33, 40, 50. The MC point of control, very big area. This is a launching pad for moves up and down. And we've been holding steady. The crude oil is taking a little bit of a pop, trading at 38.01, $1.20 on the December WTI contract, up 3.26%. The Euro stocks and the DAX are up 2% each. The Russell's up 26.6 points or 1.7%. The Dow's up 383 points or 1.43%. The Dow was around this price yesterday morning at this time, and it just became responsive and sold off into the prior range a little bit. The S&P 500 is up 37.5 points, about the same as where we were yesterday in terms of gains. And then gold is back over the 1900 mark, adding $15.40 to settlement, or 0.81%. The laggard today is the U.S. dollar, down 54.5 cents on ICE. This is the dollar futures, or 0.58%. The bonds are down 25 ticks, and the treasuries are down 6.5 big ticks. The Bund is down 11 ticks. Again, risk on sentiment all around, and the market is pushing higher and back into a major balance zone here before the election. Obviously, one of the key things I want everybody to know about is the election live webcast event. We have 11, I said 10 yesterday, but Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends confirmed that he will be on. So that gives us 11 guests. Some will be appearing at the same time, some different. We'll be talking, we'll start out by talking about trader psychology, mass psychology, psychology during event risk with Dr. Andrew Menaker. We'll have Kevin and Ian on from EdgeClear to get the broker's perspective on nights like tonight, on big events like tonight. EdgeClear's manning its desk all night for the whole election evening, monitoring risk and helping traders make sure nobody gets stuck and so forth. So we'll have them on. They also trade the micros. We'll talk about that. And then we'll have trade with profile Josh Schuler to give us perspective on how he's seeing things from an auction market theory, and so on and so forth. We'll have Pax Trader. We'll have Emery. Emery Trades and David Klotz from Phillip Capital, and many others. So as well as the convergent trading head traders as well, individually and as a group. Anyway, ft71.com/2020 election, all lowercase, gets you there. Please register. We have a lot of registrations at this point. And the goal with this show, it's really important to recognize that it's not a political show. There's plenty of politicking going around, plenty of opinions on politics. We are not concerned with that. We'll let the political pundits be pundits. We are simply looking at what the market is doing and the key areas that we need to pay attention to, and looking at the different approaches for people who are trading these kinds of events. We'll be talking trading only. We're not going to put anyone in a position where they have to speak about their politics, and frankly, we're not interested in that at this level. So make sure you register. As far as expectations for today, no earnings from no major earnings. The calendar is relatively light today. We have factory orders at 10 Eastern, IBD tip at 10 Eastern, and then crude oil stock change at 4:30 after the close. And then, of course, the election kicks off. By the way, this event is at 8 p.m. Eastern and goes probably till midnight. Although this election is expected not to be finalized tonight, we may not know who the winner is, as one of the candidates is saying that they're going to run into court if they lose anyway. So who knows? It's just, and you know how the market responds to uncertainty. The market really abhors uncertainty, and so I expect volatility to be quite high tonight and over the next week or even longer. This evening at 8:45 p.m., China releases its Caixin Services PMI for October, expecting 54. This is often a market mover. Uh, and so that's where we stand. Um, the main thing, obviously, is the election. As I said, there's really not much else for me to talk about in terms of an analysis. Looking at the Refinitive's summary, they're saying U.S. stock index futures were higher, mirroring global equities, as investors bet on a Joe Biden victory followed by a swift deal on more fiscal stimulus in one of the most divisive U.S. presidential races. The dollar fell against a basket of currencies as caution prevailed on foreign exchange markets, while gold prices were up. Oil extended its rally, but concerns over rising coronavirus cases around the world capped further gains. The U.S. factory orders data is on the economic calendar. Again, this is not my opinion. This is just coming from Thomson Reuters, and I always check it as I start my day. Let's take a look at what the market did versus what we expected yesterday. And so that's this is the primary scenario is a dip into 80 or just below 80, and then a turn back up. I expected it to hold this low volume node. You know what? I'm going to turn off my book map because it's stalling things here. Just give me a second. I'm going to just turn that off. It's a real CPU muncher. Um, Expected it to dip in here and then turn around and push higher and then just grind its way back up to the high. Expected the high to be taken out at some point, as I circled it here in green. And I was looking for it to push through the high in the afternoon. The secondary is a push through the high, come back and hold steady in the upper bound. The third is a push towards the overnight high and then a squeeze lower, potentially down into 3260. 3260. None of those were on the mark. However, scenario 3 was pretty much closest. Here's what happened yesterday. We open up in an open auction out of range. We dipped into the prior day's range. Remember, this dark green is the prior day's range, and so um, and so it dipped in, could not hold steady, and you could see there's a nice V bottom here, a pullback, and what we had here is a little bit of a kind of an inverted head and shoulder, and then squeeze higher above the opening swing high of 04 quarter. The overnight high was 2250, as you can see here, and a push through by 4 ticks. I think I got a long off. I don't remember where. I believe it was somewhere in here that I had posted along with Tendex in the head trader channel at Convergent Trading. Got a long off and managed to get out before the overnight high. And then we had basically an impulse down, a very large rotation, 18.5 points to the downside to kind of end that move. bring us back into the opening swing. We test the mid from below and then extend back in the range. Chopped around for a fair amount until about lunchtime here in Chicago till noon, and then we finally broke lower, broke the IB, and then continued through the 80, which was right here. Remember, 80 was the target on the downside, expected a test of that low volume node from the overnight session, broke into 80, and then got to within a tick of the pit close, 72 versus 71.75. And then it turned back around to the mid, gave us a nice mid rotation again, nice mid trade, a virgin test the mid, and then from there, to me, it was just too noisy. Again, a high, a fast exploration market, but overall balanced with a valid value area, high and low, and then we missed the prior day's close by a tick, but we also put in a double TPO low, giving us a weak low. This is technically a weak low. It doesn't look like it, but it is, and I also have it marked on the master levels for those who get them. I have it marked as a weak low. So that's where we stand there. Essentially came back to Friday's close and then held steady. What we did yesterday, we put in a higher high, ending the one-time framing down in the ES. Higher low, we moved the point of control higher from down here to up here, values higher, accepting higher prices by the end of the session. Since then, on the overnight session, so again, the shaded areas are the pit session. Okay, that's 9:30 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. And then anything outside of that is the extended trading hours. On the reopen, we push immediately higher in the Asian session, pause for a minute, and then when Europe opens, it pushes right up to the high. We have a weak high at 33.49.70. 33.49.75 against the mid-century at 33.50, and then we held steady at the 40. If I turn on the master levels, you'll see there's a lot going on in this area here. We have a gap zone, a big gap zone from last week on the coronavirus numbers. We have the big MC point of control. The gap zone mid is at 52.25, and then above us, there's the secondary MC point of control at 33.60.50, depending on how far back you go to pull the volume. But we are on top of a key area here. You can see how it's nice and prominent, just like the 92 down here was. Nice and prominent, and we're holding steady at it. A very orderly auction overnight. The volume is relatively light compared to the prior sessions. 1 second. I woke up this morning with a nice sore throat and a little bit of dizziness. Isn't that awesome on election day? So what we have here is a market that's come back into balance, and I just want to show you that on the composite chart. If we go back to the composite chart and we include this day, let's move this back. Look at how this is kind of playing out. This is this profile right here is this area. You can see the little box, the little brackets. That's for this area. And what we have is a highly compressed and highly balanced zone here with a point of control. With a point of control at 60, that's where that 60 comes from. The 60 comes from the day session only. This is the pit session only. The 40-50 comes from the full session or extended trading hours as well. So what we have done in the overall picture, and look at what's going on here. I talked about this last week. Market moving down, gap down, and has sat sideways. And then yesterday, it finally kind of took out the high of the prior day. And look at the delta, the cumulative delta. It's completely flat on the sell-off. There wasn't very much participation by aggressor sellers, and although we came back to the last low, so technically you would expect the delta to be somewhere down here at this point, and it's not, because that's where we were at the low last time. So there wasn't a lot of strong participation on the sell side. Those of you who traded the short side saw that it was very quick to pop up, a lot of V bottoms. And what we have here is we're starting to attack um, the gap zone, and then and starting to head to the other side, which is the other side of the gap zone from last week is 56 even right here. 56 even fills the gap zone, and we still have last week's point of control at 33.88 and a quarter. So we have 40 half, which is where we are now. We have 60.75, and then we have 88 and a quarter as the immediate kind of areas that the market is likely to test as the balance areas. Okay, so that's where we stand. Just remember, as we push higher, range is expected to go down like it did yesterday. Range is expected to collapse a little bit. Volume is expected to collapse a little bit. But we have a lot at stake tonight, right? So that's all there is to say about the recap. Let's take a look at what's expected for today. I'm sorry I have to do this, but I have to tell those folks who joined late about tonight's event, the election event. We'll be trading live, hopefully. This is not a recommendation for you to trade. Go to ft71.com/2020 election. There are only 1,000 time slots on the 1,000 viewer slots in the software, and we have well over that in registrations. ft71.com/2020 election, all lowercase, starts at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And we'll go till about midnight Eastern with 11 guests, and we'll just be talking about trading in an event-based environment. So here's what's cooking for today. Today we're opening out of range imbalance. 1 second. Out of range imbalance. This is almost the same as what we had yesterday. Yesterday, a pop on the European Open and then a flag down with a point of control in the upper range. This is what we have yet again, an up move with a flag down. The expectation is for an open auction. I'm expecting it to be responsive. We do have this high. We have yesterday's high. And then we have this test in the overnight session along with mid, all in the same area, in this 23 to 26 area. So this is the area I'm expected to get tested, 23, 26. I'm looking for an early test. The first scenario says we get the test and then we push up, take out the 50 and squeeze into 60 and consolidate until election time. Okay, election, and that'll be scenario 1. Scenario 2 is exactly the same, except we break lower. We break lower, suspecting that would be news flow. Break lower into 33.02, which was yesterday's open, point of control, and a huge battle area yesterday. 33.02, so 02. Down here, expecting it to get choppy and then likely to give up, come back to this 92 area, and then we have whatever happens at the election. That'll be scenario 2. Okay, we're opening out a balance. Just to outline. 1 second, let me turn on the stock zones. Sorry, my throat's getting really bad. So what are we looking for? 02, we're looking for 10 again. this 23, 23, 26, 40, 50, 40, 50, 60, 75, another big area. That's the target for scenario one. And then above there, if we have reason to move, really, we are likely clear to the 85 with a minor level at 76. We're looking for 85, 88. That's last week's point of control. Ugh, the 88 looks terrible. So these are the key areas. Below here, we have the same levels. We have this week low. So this is a week low at 72. That becomes a huge target for scenario two. Or scenario three. Scenario three, by the way, is just the same as yesterday. Open, test above, impulse down, come back into the 23 area and then below, and then push through. And we're likely to see 72 and lower on scenario three. But the map for today is really clear. Below there is just stock zones, baby. It's 65, 54, and then all the way down 32, 34. Again, 32, 34 being the balance of that lower drop from a few weeks ago, about 5 weeks ago. So that's the map for today. Again, these are not recommendations to trade. These are just the areas that I'm looking to engage in. Good luck. Tonight we'll cover we'll have a replay of what happened in 2016. We'll have the daily limits. We'll post that. The daily limits, we'll keep posting it. We'll have a look at trader psychology. We'll have a look at the macro picture. We'll have a look at a variety of traders, equities, macro, futures, whatever, a variety of traders' perspectives. I'm looking forward to learning a lot tonight. Don't forget to sign up at ft71.com/2020. And then tomorrow is probably going to be a very long day, as tonight will be very late. Good luck. Watch your risk today. Make sure you are able to trade tonight if you intend to. I do not recommend trading the election. It has a lot of event risk in it, news-driven risk rather than technical trading. So it's a lot of scalping type of movement. But you know, you're the boss of your own account. Good luck. Take care.